Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Marriage Mondays, where we spend Mondays talking about marriage. My name's Amir.
My name is Kamara.
And today we're going to talk about how we went from a strangership to a relationship to marriage.
Marriage has different phases, and I feel like for us being in an arranged marriage where we got married pretty quickly and like we didn't really get to a chance to really know each other like that, I feel like that first phase of our relationship or the strangership lasted a pretty long time. At least for me. I feel like for you too.
Yeah, I'd say I agree. Yeah, there's just a lot of things that you don't understand about each other at the onset of that type of relationship, and bringing things together, blah, blah, blah. It's not weird. But today we'll provide this reflection on our different experiences.
Yeah. And I guess kind of figure out if we had similar experiences, because we talk about it, but we don't really like talk about it. So yeah, let's just jump right in. Let's rewind time 10 years ago.
Okay, so tell me about 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
We got married. We had our marriage celebrations, and then our parents left, and it was just you and I.
Yes.
So now we're talking about kind of like the first instance, and for me it was like, okay, I remember when everyone left, and it was like you were in my house, and
I was in his house.
Actually, no, because you went back home. Right?
I stayed with you for like 2 weeks, and then I went back home for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Okay. So they leave, and then I'm like walking in, and before I open the door, I'm like, oh shoot, like, what the heck are we going to talk about? You know, and I was just like, oh man, I just got to figure this out. So.
You know what? That explains a lot, because when you would open the door and you would come in, you would have like this, and then like you wouldn't look at me. You would like open the door, keys in your hand, like your backpack on, and just go. And I'm like, and I'm like, Mom,
yeah.
here's some nasty food for you to consume.
Yeah. In particular, those greens that you made. She made me some salty greens year one.
Yeah. That makes sense, because like I would see your face and I would just be like,
yeah, no, because like I guess initially, right, Kamara was like somewhat socially awkward, right? And so I'd be like, man, like what's going on here? You know, like,
and I can explain that. I can explain what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So while she also
overthinks things a lot.
Yes, and I will tell you what was going through my mind. My mind was like, I need to put on this role. I need to literally put it on like a suit and wear it. So when he came home, I'm like, I have to be like the dutiful wife. I have to be, the wife. I have to, ask him if he wants me to take his shoes off. If he wants me to, I don't know.
All right, you never said that.
These are things that came in my mind. So the whole personality, right, of like this wife. This is what I was like, should I do this? Should I not? So this whole time we're in this beginning of the strangership, I'm literally trying to figure things out of like, because there are things like I would do and it would make you really uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think that's also what made it a little awkward. It was just like so unnatural. like her, it was just like almost robotic. And then like when she was like being more like, trying to be romantic and stuff like that was fine. But then like when she was like what she saw as
a wife
and what women what your roles and responsibilities are. That portion was very like
weird.
Yeah, it was
awkward. Weird.
It was just really awkward, right? And so, I think that was, for me, that was probably like the most awkward portion of like the initial phase, and then getting past that, I then had to like figure out how can I bond with this individual? How can we like find terms? Because like before, you're going on dates and things like that, and you're having the interactions, and other people are there. But then when it's just you two, you're like, okay, like, all right. So
what do we talk about?
Yeah, what do we talk about? How are we gonna be able to talk for,
24 hours.
Not 24 hours, but like at least like 4 to 8 hours. Right? What I did is I found a way to have activities where we didn't have to speak as much with one another, but we were able to do things together so that we could, build a bond and a relationship. So we would work out, or we would, go to the movies a lot, which is like movies are good because you don't talk, right?
Yeah, but you know what was also kind of like all right, was that the things that you were like suggesting, the things that we did, it was all things that you liked, all things that you wanted to do. And there was never a time where you're like, what do you like? You never asked me what I liked. You were just like, run. We're going to the beach and run. We're going to go around the corner and run. We're going to go to the gym and run. And it's like, yeah, that's cool and all. But like, you didn't ask me what I liked.
You never told me what you liked.
You never asked.
I mean, there's got to be like some give and take here, right? Like you can't expect me to do everything.
I thought that's what women did. I thought that's what wives did. You have to wait. Like
you have to wait
until guys like. So what do you like to do?
SubhanAllah.
So it's like all the while you're doing these things, I'm like, yeah, this is cool, but this is not that fun. Like I like movies and all, but I've never been like a movie theater person, right? Like even now, I like we go to the movies. It's cool, but I'm not like, oh my god.
All right, so tell the people what does Kamara like to do?
I liked going on our nature walks that we did. I love those. I liked going to like museums and like just like walking around. I liked taking pictures, which you eventually did. You were like, you know what, you like taking pictures. Let me take you to the spot. You could take a picture of this wall, which was really cool. I was like, thank you. This is a nice wall.
You like going on walks and taking pictures.
Going on walks, taking pictures, going to like museums, looking at other pictures.
How many museums you've been to?
Not many. But the ones I did, I liked it. So I was like, museums.
You see what I'm dealing with? this is what I'm talking about right here.
But now I go to museums and I really enjoy going to museums.
So basically, what I did was I was like, oh well. How about let's go to a beach. Let's go running. Let's go to the gym. Let's go to the movies. Let's go to the mall. Let's do all of these things, right? And so that's how I was like, that was the only way, because I was like, maybe she likes one of these things. So like we went on like we were trying. She wanted to get in better shape, so I was like, yeah, let's get in shape. Let's run, right? We started running. She couldn't run.
I don't run.
Oh, dang.
It's not my thing.
And then I was like, all right, well, you can't run outside. Let's see if you can run on a treadmill.
Nope.
But her feet do this weird thing, and it's crazy.
It doesn't go straight. I don't run on treadmills.
So she can't run on treadmills, right? She can walk very well.
Very fast. Incline.
And then she was really good at the stair steppers. I was like, all right, you.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I did like 40 minutes on the stair stepper once because he was like, you better run for 10 minutes. I said, boy, nope, got me messed up.
Yeah. So that was fun, and then I tried to see if she could play basketball. She couldn't.
No.
Dang, that's crazy. Like
I had no.
Because I mean, for me, I really like sports, and I was like, yeah, she's black, 50% at least, and maybe she plays sports because we all played sports. But then again, like my sisters, they don't really play sports, but I was like, maybe she did. And then she was talking about how she like ran and stuff, or she liked running when she was younger, when we were recording, and so I was like, oh, she pulled a fast one on me. She was playing the game.
I did like running before.
Alhamdulillah, through over time though, we were able to build this bond. So like, what was kind of awkward about the first?
I mean, I think it was just that kind of figuring out who we were, right, and then trying to shift this strangership into a relationship. And I think that's kind of like when we jumped into friendship and we started figuring out like our common bond, which was anime. And it's like now we have so much more in common and we like enjoy doing things together. But before, like the only thing that we like really, really bonded over was anime, and we would spend hours watching different shows and introducing each other to different shows, and it was a great time. And I was like, this dude is actually pretty cool, because before that I would get like anxious when you had to get off, like when you're getting off work. Like I was like, please text me when you're getting home. Like I need to know when you're coming home. I need to know the time exactly to the T. Like let me know because I'm like, okay, what do I do? What do I wear? What do I cook? What, you know, like all of these things that were just like going through my mind about like what it meant to be a wife. And man, I was stressing myself out.
Yeah,
and obviously
she
like
had me stressed out
yeah.
too. I came home one day, and she had like, it was just like her face was blue. It was like blue. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, I was like, oh my goodness,
that was
what
just
is
playing
going?
with makeup. But
I came in. I remember walking in like, I'm gonna leave, and then, but I didn't say anything. I was like, oh, Assalamu alaikum. But my eyes were just probably just like, whoa, okay. But
this is what we're doing.
no, but I mean, yeah, that's something I had to get used to because she did like playing with makeup and things like that, but I didn't realize it at the time. And so she has a really artistic side of her, which is something that I had to get used to. Oh, what's a moment when we worked as a team for the first time in our friendship phase?
In our friendship phase.
I got one.
You got one?
Mm-hmm. Marriage Mondays.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Marriage Mondays.
Like
yeah.
when we first started Marriage Mondays, I think we had like kind of like mid friendship phase, and
no, I don't feel like that was mid friendship. That was 3 years in. I felt like I actually liked you then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was like, hey, you're acceptable.
Yeah, you could be in my presence.
I think at that time I was like, all right, like, you know, I guess that's one of the things that I realize is that, you know, people are who they are. They have their likes and their dislikes, and there's nothing that you can do to persuade or change a person to where they're gonna have the same likes and dislikes that you do.
Yeah.
Or not necessarily dislikes, but just the same likes, and so you really have to accept people for who they are as you learn who they are.
Yeah.
And so I think at that time when we started Marriage Mondays, we were at that stage where we completely accepted each other for who we were, and we were ready to like move forward and just see where marriage takes us.
Yeah, to enter that next phase.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, like, the friendship phase lasted. It was short. You know, to me, it went by very quickly because after, you know, a couple of years, and then it was like, okay, this is actually what a marriage is. But even within the marriage phase, sometimes I felt like we reverted back to those other phases that we already, you know, overcame. Mm-hmm. And one of the times, I'll say we were in our marriage phase. This is when we lived. The place that always shut off the water.
Homestead?
Yeah, off of Homestead.
Yeah.
So when we lived there, and we both were working a lot. This is when I was still going to school, and I was working, and I was doing photography full time. So we barely saw each other.
Yeah.
Like, maybe dinner, bed, and we were up early doing our own thing. And I feel like that lasted for... 4 months, 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, it was a while.
It was a long time. I wouldn't, maybe even 6 months, because it got to a point where you were like, you know, I don't even see you anymore, like, because my weekends were taken up by photography. So you're like, I don't even see you anymore, and it really hit me. And it was like, when was the last time we hung out? Like, we've just been in this robotic phase of just, you know, doing, you know, the mundane and just work, school, photography, you know, and doing all these things. And it's like, I was did not
just wrestling a lot and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you were doing wrestling too. So it was like we had no time for each other. And during that phase, I felt like we were back as like roommates. That we did it like, yeah. And then we got out of that phase. And I feel like we got out of that phase with like being intentional of like, okay, this is something that's happening. What can we do to come back to the marriage phase. And then I'll say after we had kids again, after we had Suli, dipped back into that like strangership thing.
I mean, having kids is a little bit different because it's like you just had. I mean, you're just trying to figure it out. It's like I'd say it's like a wild, wild west. I mean, it's certainly a different phase in the marriage, but yeah, just it definitely changes the dynamics. I think it worked out like having children when we had children for us because of how we entered the relationship, not knowing each other as much.
Yeah.
But
for reference, we had our children 5 years into our marriage.
And I don't know, like I think it would have been wild if we would have had kids like in the first year.
Yeah, you didn't even like me like that.
I didn't.
I mean, I knew it, but dang, hearing it. No, but it's true. We did not have a connection.
No, I think it was just more chemistry. Like like for me, it was like finding out like, oh man, like we have so many things that are not common. I think at some point I was like, okay, Amir, you married Kamara, and you gotta live with it.
Oh wow, so romantic.
No,
wow.
Let me go.
Wow.
So it's like,
wow.
So it's like you. I was like, yeah. I mean, honestly, I was like, you made this decision, right?
You made this bed, you sleep. That's wild.
No, like, I do a lot of self-talk. So what I was saying to myself is like, okay, you married her. So it's not so much that, oh, like you married her, you have to live with it, but you married her for a reason, right? Yeah. That like you saw, you know, when you met her and you talked to her and you were courting, you saw someone that you believe should be your wife. And so if that's the woman that you believe is going to be your wife, then why change her, right? Yeah.
That's way more romantic.
And so I started to say, okay, I'm just gonna try and do the things that she likes and act like I like them too. Right? I was like, all right, let's take pictures. So I started taking pictures. Started going on the walks. Started trying to do vlogs. That's what we did early on. That allowed me to find some commonality. And I started to enjoy some of those things, right?
The next page is...
So I guess, you know, we're reaching our 10th year. Looking forward, what do you think the next phase of our marriage is?
It's scary, thinking about, like, the future.
Second wife?
Oh, because I asked you that earlier?
Yeah.
I asked him earlier. I was like, we're going on 10 years. I was like, was there
We're going on 10 years, so she's like, is the next phase of our life going to be with a second wife?
Yeah, that's a valid question to ask.
I'm like, interesting.
Yeah, that's a valid question to ask. Like, hey, we've been together for so long. Is this something you're thinking about? I feel like it is a great way to open up the next chapter.
No, it's not. It's a great way to end your first chapter.
I mean, as in, like, a conversation, not doing it, not going out to get one, but like, hey, is what you want? No, cool. Okay, let's move on.
So we're talking about the next phase.
Oh,
so
what's going to be the next phase? And I was saying how it's something that's so scary. It's and because it's like, alhamdulillah, like, I love, like, our marriage. I love you. I love our kids. And, like, the back of my mind, it's like, okay, I know we get tested in this life, with love, with family, with loss. Yeah. Am I going to lose this? Am I going to lose something? And it's honestly thoughts that keep me, my night thoughts. And it's something that keeps me up because I'm like, is this going to be a part of my test? And like, it's gut wrenching. Like it's
That's actually interesting because I've been thinking about the same thing. Like I was like, oh, you know, yeah, those things, those three things that you're tested with, like finances, health, or what is it, family. Right? Mm-hmm. And so at this moment in time, alhamdulillah, you know, we have persevered through some things, but I feel like I haven't been tested, right? So, you know, I get really worried when things happen now. Like when my kids get sick, I get worried. I'm like, oh man, like, ya Allah, please, keep my son, keep my daughter,
Yeah.
And then even with my finances, I'm like, oh man, like, am I going to lose my job? Is that what the struggle is considered? Or, like things like that. And then with my health, I mean, technically I am struggling with my health a little bit.
Yeah, you do have a chronic condition.
Yeah, chronic injuries.
Yeah.
So,
you're not talking about your asthma. You're talking about your injury.
Yeah. Asthma, I was born with asthma, right?
That's a test itself.
I've been dealing with that for you, right?
Yeah.
This is between us, you
Yeah.
know? And I guess technically I've also been dealing with a lot of your health issues as well. So, I mean, technically you face some major health issues.
Yeah.
So maybe we have been tested.
Yeah.
And we should accept that Allah has made it easy on us.
Yeah. Yeah. And I honestly, subhanAllah, I make dua so often for you. Obviously I make dua for you all the time. But for us, and just not to test me in a way that I can't bear, and just the thought of being tested with my family, subhanAllah. So that's what is terrifying me about the next phase.
So you think
marriage.
The next phase of marriage is tests or trials and tribulations?
Yes, I do. I don't know if I believe it is, but that's a fear that I have, and it's because it's we've come so far in our marriage, and we reached a point where it's just where I don't like being apart from you. I enjoy your company. I enjoy when you come home. I am interested in what you find interesting, and I love and accept everything about you. So I am terrified. I'm terrified of not having that, and it's like I say, it keeps me up at night. Keeps me up.
Well, for some reason, I feel like our next phase is just going to be, I don't know how to put it into words, but
much more
I'd say
outlook.
just time. Time constrained.
Just enjoying.
I think that I feel like we just won't have enough time.
What?
To really, I don't know. Yeah, I think it'll be we won't have enough time for each other, and that we'll be just
caught up in life.
Caught up in life, kids and things like that.
I don't know, but I feel like we do a really good job now of making sure that doesn't happen.
I mean, to an extent, but I think that as the kids get older and they're in more things, I think that that could be it. But I also, on the other hand, I think that I look forward to the next phase, and conquering, whatever challenges may come.
Yeah.
And even if, time becomes an issue, figuring out how we can make time for one another and just move forward just like we have.
Yeah, I mean, your outlook way more positive than mine. You could tell who has anxiety and who doesn't. You could tell who's mentally stable.
Or who's better at acting.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that covers it.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.